I saw this post online. Men with spiritual compass know that married women are deity, and smart men stay away from them. A woman who have dated like 4 men before you and might have had 20 casual sexual encounters with men. So before she met you, she might have been with 25 men before she met you. Then because she met you, you told her I love you. She told you I love you too. You asked her, will you marry me? She said yes. Now you took her to front of the altar to take your vows of I do. And all of a sudden, she turns to Amadioha. She turns to Shongo. The modern woman is telling you that she's a bad bitch and you're calling her a deity. You want to put responsibilities that she does not want on top of her head. And he said men with spiritual compass. That is where most men get it wrong. What is your spiritual compass as a Christian? Majority Christians believe that even if they wrong you, once they kneel down and beg God for forgiveness, God will forgive them. Christianity made us to believe that it is only sin against the Holy Spirit that might not be forgiven. And sleeping with your woman is not sin against the Holy Spirit. So most men who are coming to sleep with your wife, they believe that even if they pregnant her, all they need to do is to kneel down and pray and all the sins will be forgiven. And even you, what is your own compass as a Christian man? You were told that if they slap in this cheek, you should turn the other cheek. That if they take your singlet, you should give them your shirt. Which means that if you have 2 wives, if a man sleep with the first wife, then you carry the other one and give him. Most times when Christians quote the Old Testament, how the God of the Old Testament was exerting karma and punishing people in the Old Testament, they forgot that in the Old Testament, they believed in an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. There was nothing like forgiveness in their belief. And also they had Ark of the Covenant, which is, as a group, they took a blood covenant, they took an oath. They believed in this thing, that if you do this thing, this will happen to you. If you do this thing, this will happen to you. And they took an oath. That made it a covenant. You've thrown away all your ancestral practices that had strong covenant. You said that there are old things, that old things have passed away. That you are now civilized. That recognizing them means you living in the past. But then when you meet life challenges, instead of tackling it as a civilized man and be proactive, you are wishing karma and waiting for the gods of your land to come and fight a man who did you wrong. I'm making effort to bring you up to date, because if you're not updated, you become outdated. All this women worshipping and primitive thinking is only setting you up for tears and punishment in the hand of the modern woman. The modern woman don't believe majority of religious practices, be it in Christianity, be it in African religion. So you saying that she's a sacred deity, she doesn't even believe that she's a sacred deity. So why are you wasting your reverence on her? For years now, men have been shouting, educating young men about the importance of DNA test. And some African men, they've filled their ear and used cement to plaster it. They don't want to hear people advise them about DNA test. They have 4 kids. They don't care to know whether the kids belong to them, even though they have the resources, because they believe that in African tradition, that any child giving birth to your household belongs to you, without realizing that the world have evolved, that things have changed. Next 10 years now, this man's wife might wake up and tell him that those kids do not belong to him, that she's taking the kids away to travel out. And now this man will come out to be crying and saying that God should punish the woman, that the God of his ancestors will punish the man who got his wife pregnant 4 times. But men are now advising him, be proactive, go for a DNA test so that you be sure. Because the fact is, if next 20 years you have 4 kids and your wife decides to leave you, but you're sure that the 4 kids whom you have labored and taken care of belong to you, the shock will not be much. The pain will not be much. But if next 15 years, next 20 years, your wife is to leave you, and those 4 kids whom you've labored for does not belong to you, heart attack will unalive you. That your deity will unalive you. That's your deity, Ebu. In Igbo, we say, Alosibulo ene. There are some deities that unalive people who feed them. People have been shouting, telling you that if you meet her a non-virgin, chances are that she has met somebody who is more special to her than you, which means that you might not be very special to her. So if you're investing your resources, If you're investing your emotions, that you should be very, very careful. But no, mba, ejo. Because at the back of your mind, you feel that your woman is different. At the back of your mind, you feel that this cannot be me. When dealing with the modern woman, forget about all these primitive beliefs, all these superstitious beliefs. You have to be proactive. You have to protect your finances. You have to take care of your health. You have to do DNA test. When you're dealing with a modern woman, you have to do something so as to reduce the shock. A modern woman who has been with plenty men before you will shock you. If she doesn't shock you with cheating, she will shock you by leaving when you least expect. Aim of this video is to help you deconstruct, to throw away all those primitive beliefs, all those superstitious beliefs that will not serve you in this era. Take precautions. Take precautions. Be proactive. You don't forgive a cheating girlfriend and expect miracle tomorrow when she becomes your wife. You don't sweat and take care of kids blindly without knowing whether they belong to you. You don't give your monogamous commitment to a woman with high body count without waiting for her to prove her worth. Be proactive, even though we cannot be all careful, we cannot be all knowing, but at least there are some things that if you do, it will help you reduce the shock, reduce the pain. Peace.